Hello. Today I am actually in a very different place. This is not a Mayan ruin, obviously. This is actually a Roman ruin, and I'm over on the other side of the Atlantic now. My apologies that this is going up much later than I would normally do it. Well, I say unfortunately. Quite honestly, like on the day 13 Aj, I was traveling, and yesterday on 1 Aj, I was very, very jet lagged and really wasn't in a fit state to make a video. So I thought, well, you know what? Better late than never. So I thought, you know what? I'll just record it here. Hopefully, this is a nice place to do it. So today I'm going to be talking about the Trecena of Aj, and Aj all about the home, all about the house. And here we are in this old Roman port city. And I figured that was kind of a nice place. It's all about this environment, this domestic. So the Trecena of Aj I really see as about bringing harmony to your community. I think I may have said before, when we look at it from the point of view, we've been through the Ishbalam Trecena, we've been through the Kech Trecena, we've been through the Ajpu Trecena, we've gone through all of these challenges, all of this kind of spiritual leadership and all of this, kind of like finding the hero within. Now what are we going to do with it? We're going to take it back to our community in the Trecena of Aj and use it for something good. We're going to use it to bring harmony. We're going to use it to bring this bonding. We're going to use it to stand up and say what needs to be said, because it brings us the strength, it brings us the courage to do so. We begin the Trecena on the day of 1 Aj, this beginning, this standing up for something new, standing up when something needs to be said, standing up for what is right, what will bring justice, what will bring balance, what will bring continuity to our community. Now, maybe there are positions of leadership that have been offered to you. Maybe there's a time when we know, well, hang on, we've got to go our own way. Sometimes the crowd has taken us in one direction. The crowd has taken us in an unsustainable direction. It's time to stand up and say, right, okay, it's time to go home. It's time to go and do what needs to be done. It's time to go and say what needs to be said for the good of the community, for the harmony of all. So 1 Aj brings the beginnings of those things. We can see it as a new beginning. We can see Aj connected to the corn. And also this is, the corn, the resurgence of the corn, which would be happening right now in Guatemala. Great time to be planting corn as the rains begin. And it's the new growth of the corn that sustains the community. And this is both physically and metaphorically. It's about being the corn, being the one that stands up like the cornstalk, tall and proud, to look after your community, doing and saying what needs to be said in order to bring harmony. Okay, so it has the potential for it, but maybe we're not exactly sure about it, because that's the one. It needs fertilizer. It needs something to make it grow properly, to make it grow strong. So we're planting the seeds of what can bring harmony to our community, of how we can lead. From 1 Aj, we're then going into 2 Ish. The Ish, connecting with our sacred sites, connecting with the magic, connecting with Mother Earth. And the number 2, talking about self-sacrifices, like what can we give to help with Mother Earth? What can we give to help to cement our connection with Mother Earth? How can we connect with her to bring out our magic, to bring out her magic? And what might we need to give up? What might we need to make a sacrifice of, to let go of, in order to connect on a deeper level? From 2 Ish, we're then going into 3 Tz'ikin. 3 Tz'ikin, well, that I always see the 3 as the number of home, of creativity, of what's going on the inside. And sometimes that means that, what's going on the outside is going to feel like it doesn't quite work. It's going to feel like it's not quite, it needs a little bit of something more to get it going, to get it moving. It's because, like, when we're focusing outside on a 3-day, it's like kind of like trying to tell us, no, we need to go within. And when we see it with the Nawal Tz'ikin, this is about the inner vision. This is what you've got going on inside of yourself. And so it's about concentrating on that vision that you have within. If we see the number 3, we also see it represents the home. It represents the body, the home of the soul. And so what is your vision for home? We could see Ach also representing the home, and the one representing beginnings, new. So it's like a new home. And so when we come to this three Tz'ikin, it's like, right, what is your real vision within you for this new home that you might be going to, moving to, establishing, the new community that you want to establish? You got to have the vision coming from within you. Three Tz'ikin is a day to ask for that vision to come from within, to focus on it, to understand how to achieve it. From three Tz'ikin, we then move to four Ajmak. Ajmak being pardon and forgiveness. Ajmak representing the acceptance. And the number four representing the material. It's about understanding, yeah, we are exactly who we are. We're doing exactly what we do because we're human. And that is human nature. That is the way that it's going to be. And it's not always the greatest and it's not always the best, but we keep going with it until something better comes along. And sometimes we just got to accept stuff the way that they are. And so when we see it with the four, we see it on the down-to-earth material level. You know, this is very much what we could see as both, well, on all levels, I suppose, the work in progress, right? You know, it's kind of like this is, well, it's not exactly the way that we want it to be, but for now, we just got to get on with it. We'll come back to it. We'll perfect it later, but for now, if we're trying to make everything perfect, if we're trying to accept everything on this physical level, this is where we need to be with four Ajmak. So there may also be kind of like apologies. There may also be kind of like holding our hands up and say, yeah, okay, it wasn't as perfect as I'd liked it to be. It wasn't as perfect as I'd hoped it to be. But for now, we're just going to roll with it. We're just going to take it as acceptable. From four Ajmak, we then go into five Noch. And so this is where we're kind of rethinking it. The five representing the work, the hand that we put the work in with, putting energy into it. What are we putting our energy into? Our ideas, our thoughts, our problem-solving abilities. Okay, so yes, it might take a little bit more than usual to get things rolling, but if we don't put the work in, nothing's going to happen. I like to think of the five as exactly like that. You know, it's kind of like if we don't put electricity or gas into our car, it's not going to move, right? We've got to put some energy into it before it starts moving. And so when we see that five with Noch, it's like, right, okay, well, what are your ideas? What are your thoughts? What do you want to achieve? How do you want to bring your intellect and your information together to solve the problem? Well, here with the five, it's saying, right, okay, you're going to have to put some energy into that in order to make it work. But when you do, of course, that's going to make it take off. From five Noch, we're then going into six Tijax. So Tijax, the Nawal of healing, Tijax, the Nawal of the obsidian blade, and here we see it guided by heaven and earth and manifesting into the physical with the number six. So the day of ultimate stability, the day of family healing, helping to understand what needs to be cut out, what needs to be removed in order to bring peace and harmony, in order, once again, to bring that tranquility to the family. And so we see this family healing day almost in the middle of the Trecena. Now sometimes, of course, Tijax is going to involve surgery, and that surgery is not always going to be pain-free at first, but we know it's something good for the long run. So if there's something which needs to be cut, if there's something which needs to be looked at in order to bring it to purity, to bring it to healing, then 6 Tijax is the day to do it on, in order to bring healing to your family. From 6 Tijax, we're then going into 7 Kawok, so the end of the birth process. This is the finality of the birth process. This is saying, right, okay, whatever it was that we were doing, now it is done. Now it has been delivered. And so the birth process, whatever we were going through, perhaps this is going through from the Ajpu Trecena, because you remember, like if we see it, we would be 19 days or 20 days, where like because we're coming up to the 8 Ajpu, and so the day 7 Kawok is the day to finish it off, is the rebirth of the sun. Kawok, the rainstorm, which washes away that which is in our path. Kawok, that which nourishes the corn which has been planted, which again we could see as a one Ach very much, right? Well, the 7 Kawok comes along and says, right, okay, this is the final rain that helps to bring this resurrection of the maize, this corn, this light into the world. So 7 Kawok being very much finalizing the healing process, finalizing the birth process, bringing the new into the world. So again, if whatever it is that you think that you might be working on, whatever it is that you're trying to bring into the world, 7 Kawok is a good day for that final push to make it happen. From 7 Kawok, we're then going into 8 Ajpu. So the 8 being the 1 of beginnings and the 7 of the endings coming together. It's wholeness. And so this is the wholeness of Ajpu, the wholeness of the sun, the wholeness of the light, the wholeness of the hero. Now, I like to go back to the story of the hero twins, because when we see the journey of Ishbalamkiech and Hunahpu through Xibalba, what we find is that, the Lord's Kamei, they're trying to trick them at every step, right? And I feel that it is because Ishbalamkiech and Hunahpu have the mother from the underworld, Ishkik, and the father from the upper world, Hunahpu. They are this complete blend of the light and the dark, the yin and the yang as it might be. And because they understand how to blend these things together, they can understand the trickery of the underworld lords, because sometimes the hero has to kind of like outsmart the trickery, right? Because yes, it's all very well, kind of like working from the field of light and from the solar lords and all that kind of thing. But sometimes that means that they don't quite get what they have to do in order to overcome the challenges of the underworld. For me, 8 Ajpu brings all of that together, helps us to understand the integration of the light and the darkness to be whole. The seeds need both the light of day and the darkness of night in order to grow. And this is about achieving balance on your hero's journey, on your path. And so it's understanding which bits are in the light, which bits take you through the darkness. That's what 8 Ajpu is about. It's about integrating maybe some of the most joyous parts of your journey and maybe some of the more challenging parts of your journey, and understanding that is the entirety of your spiritual path. That is the 8 Ajpu. And so maybe these things come to the front on that day. From 8 Ajpu, we're then moving into 9 Imox, a very, very feminine day. Imox representing the water, representing the sea, representing the lake, representing the connection between us all, the dream world. And here we see it with the number 9, the number which represents the feminine, the number which represents independence, and the number which represents life. And so, in one way, the easiest way to kind of like talk about 9 Imox straight off the bat is life stream. This is something to focus on that day. What is your life stream? In this Trecena of Hunahpu, in this Trecena, of Hunach, in this Trecena, which deals with creating new community, creating new home. It's like saying, okay, we're just past the middle of the Trecena. Now, what's your life dream? How do you want to create that home? Of course, it is a day to look, perhaps if we are dreaming on that day, to look to the women of our world, to ask for their interpretation of our dreams. It's also a day to celebrate the water, to celebrate the ocean, to celebrate the lake and the life that comes to us from it. From 9 Imox, we then go into 10 Ik. Well, I guess that's time for the announcement. We have Ik representing the wind. We have Ik representing the divine breath. And here, when we see it connected with the number 10, when we see it connected with the community, with harmony, with cooperation, this is a great day for an announcement to your community. This is a great day to get your voice out there in order to help to communicate, in order to help to cooperate with each other. When we look at it, again, from the position of Aj, from the position of creating harmony within our community. It's no good if we don't speak up about what needs to be spoken about. Tz'ikin gives that opportunity to speak with our community, gives that opportunity for our voice to be heard, to help to cooperate, to help to give others a hand up, to help to bond our community through our voice. Because this surely is the ultimate goal of Aj. It's about bringing harmony to our home, harmony to our community. And we can't do that if we're not talking to each other. Tz'ikin is a great day for a community meeting, to get our voice out, to make our voice heard, and to listen to the voices of others. From Tz'ikin, we then go into 11 Aq'ab'al. Aq'ab'al being the dawn and the dusk, Aq'ab'al being the twilight, and here with 11. Now, Aq'ab'al can really be seen as representing new concepts, and here with the number 11, this is very much about bringing concepts from various places which may have been hidden in the dark out into the open, so that they can develop, so that they can grow. And so for 11 Aq'ab'al, this might be a confusing day in some ways if you try to control it. I often think that the 11s is about allowing them to do what they need to do, going in the directions they need to go, letting go of control and allowing things to happen. And with Aq'ab'al, this is allowing things to come out of the darkness, to come into the light from directions with the 11 that you might not have been thinking about. So this is definitely a day to allow your mind to wander, to allow your dreams to express, to allow your dreams to wander, as it were. From 11 Aq'ab'al, we then move into 12 Cat. So a very interesting day in that Cat representing bundling, Cat representing bringing things together. And here with the Nawal, or with the number 12, which also represents bundling, which also represents bringing things together. So 12 Cat being like these two things, all both representing at the same time, things being brought together. The 12 can represent life experiences, and Cat can represent working out what we want to keep and what we want to let go of. And so this is a massive day for a life review. We're in the Aj Trecena. We're working out how we can better create harmony in community. We're working out how we can better lead, stand up for what needs to be done, what needs to be said. And here with 12 Aj is working out what you want to keep from your life and what you want to let go of. Because if we're going into this new home, if we're going into this new phase of leadership, if we're going into this new phase of strength and standing up for what is right, there may be some things from the past that we need to let go of. 12 Cat is very much the day for that. So I always think of Cat as being a decluttering day. And the number 12 would suggest decluttering the life. Okay, what life experiences are you done with now? What life experiences have helped you to get to this point, but now it's time to let go of? 12 Cat, I would consider to be the day to be looking down, to be going through, whether it's going through your loft, going through your attic, going through your storage or whatever it is, going through your journals and sort of like looking at things, reliving them and saying, right, okay, I think that's done now. It's time to move on from that. And then finally, we go to 13 Can. A very interesting and very powerful day. Can representing wisdom, representing power, representing the body lightning that each of us carries. And here, the number 13 representing the ancestors, representing our connection with spirit. And so one way we could see this would be the wisdom which comes from the ancestors, ancestral wisdom. This is the day to connect with it. Another way that we could see 13 Can is the power that comes from our connection with spirit. It is an exceptionally powerful day. You probably, I would say, you wouldn't need to do much to connect with the energy of this day because it's flowing so strong. It's kind of like more about learning to maybe control it, to understand how this energy is going to flow, the wisdom that it can bring, the power that it can bring, the strength that it can bring. and understand how to flow with it and not allow it to become overwhelming. Because when that power becomes overwhelming, that's when it can go out of control. That's when it can get control of us, as it were, when we might become its puppet, rather than allowing us to understand how to use that wisdom correctly. So 13 can for me is certainly a day to engage with ancestral wisdom. This is a day to understand how that ancestral wisdom can help us to take our community forwards in this Trecena of Aj. We're finishing it on this day of ancestral wisdom. And surely it's by looking to the wisdom of the ancestors that we can understand how to bring harmony and how to lead our community forwards. It's a great day for engaging in any kind of energetic discipline, so long as we are understanding how to keep that within the bounds of our control rather than letting it run away with us. So if you're looking for, let's say, some guidance, 13 can is a great day to ask Spirit or ask the ancestors for their wisdom and keep your ears open for the answer. So I hope that has been of interest to you. I hope that you'll forgive me for being a bit late, and I look forward to seeing you in 13 days' time for the Trecena of Aj. Thank you.